Hey folks, Neil Beasley here. Everybody back in school and back deeply in Texas high school basketball. Time to get you warmed up for this week. We've got district races heating up. Let's take a look at some key matchups in the lineup. Two of the best 5A programs in the state go at it in 8-5A Friday night as Manfield Summit heads to Mansfield Timberview. Summit is ranked number 2 in the state, while the Wolves come in at 18. Ian Sada and Theo Brannon are leading the way for the Jags as Summit has played some of the best competition in the state early on, and they feel like they have what it takes to make it to state. They will be challenged in this one as Timberview, led by Jason Ross and Damian Jackson, have hit their stride as well. Both teams are undefeated in district play and should be the favorites to finish 1-2 in 8-5A when the regular season ends. 6-6A is jumbled at the top, but Friday night there should be some separation. Allen has a bead on first place, but when Plano West and Plano East tussle at the Panthers gym, we should be able to find out who could finish second. Just an awesome afternoon last Friday for the Wolves' Gavin Brzezowski, who finished with 28 points against Prosper. Plano East hung with Allen for a half, but an awful third quarter made that game lopsided. Matt Wester is still looking for a healthy DJ Hall and some good cohesion between the rest of his guys. And the girls' hoops, don't sleep on Fort Worth Boswell. The Pioneers are a top 5 team in the state in 6A and have only lost once. They have a first-place battle with North Crowley at home on Friday. Boswell, led by their pesky guard Camille Williams, and the glass cleaner Haley Jackson in the paint.
The warm-up is presented by Cricket. Smile, you're on Cricket.
At Cricket, get free Samsung Galaxy phones.
Inside High School Sports is brought to you by Whataburger, just like you like it. And by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
We caught up to a big-time athlete from the Metroplex in this week's Recruiting Trail.
Lorenzo Zohill. I go to Denton High School. So right now I signed and I committed to UTEP. I signed on the 4th, but the reason why I went there is I just like the culture, football. I feel like he's gonna be a great coach, and he's really building something special up there. I know they pass a lot, so I feel like I'm gonna use my speed on like the edges and stuff like that. Like quick game for sure. Yeah, on the field, well, I'm gonna start with off the field. Off the field, I'm a real laid back guy, real chill. I just be chilling. But when I get on the field, I really turn up. Like I can really express myself on the field. So. Oh, you're getting a great player. I can't wait to come out there, showcase my skills and stuff like that. So, hikes up for sure. So I was looking to accomplish first team all district. I did that my junior year. I feel like I would have did that this year too if I never got hurt. But yeah. Fight through adversity. Stuff's gonna hit you. Just keep fighting through it. It's all God's plan at the end of the day, so always remember that.
The warm-up is presented by Cricket. Smile, you're on Cricket.
Wow. At Cricket, get free Samsung Galaxy phones.
Inside High School Sports is brought to you by Golden Chick. One taste and you're golden. and by Kubota, the #1 selling compact tractor in Texas. For details, visit gokubota.com. Kubota, together we do more.
Our Ward Fasold caught up with North Crowley head coach Tommy Brakel to see how his Panthers are hoping to follow up the football team's state championship in this week's Media Day segment.
All right, it's Media Day, and I am joined with North Crowley head coach Tommy Brakel, a good friend of the show. And Coach, I tell you what, usually when we have discussions, the rest of your athletics are kind of riding off of your success because you had a highly successful squad. But this year's a little bit different. You might be riding off of Coach Gates' success here. He brought home the state title that hadn't come there in football since 2003. What's it kind of like knowing that seeing your other teams in your athletic program successful and not just your football or your basketball squad that you've been coaching?
Well, I mean, I can speak to that on a couple of different levels. One is the athletic coordinator. I mean, cannot be more proud of those guys. It was just an amazing run. Just the way that they all just bought in and believed in each other and what they were doing. It was just so exciting. And then anytime your football program does well and plays late into the fall, it always, band and your drill team and just cheerleaders and everybody that's involved. It just really helps with the culture of the entire school. From an athletic standpoint, all of us as head coaches, it's inspiring. It's inspiring to see one of your programs do that well and really just gets everybody, man, I want to be next, and so that's where we are right now. We're still celebrating the state championship for the football program and what an amazing run that was, but yet still inspired, and our next programs are next up.
Let's talk about this year's squad, because when I talk about North Crowley, I usually know that when I go out to a game, I'm going to see 8 to 10 players have significant roles. And you were telling me earlier this year that you may not have the depth that you've had in teams before. Talk a little bit about your Panther squad this year.
Well, I mean, first of all, you almost have to go back to last year. And last year we, finished, I can't even remember, 33-4 or something like that. And had a very senior heavy team, a group of guys that grew up in our community and had been to all of our elementary schools and middle schools all the way up, just an amazing group of guys. And we were pretty senior heavy last year. And so, we lost a lot just through graduation. With the guys that we did have coming back, they were ready to step up and take the proverbial torch by hand, if you will, and carry it to the next level. And so, we were rolling and on the right track, and things were looking good, even though our depth wasn't quite where we wanted it to be. Sometimes you have to develop depth, with depth and inexperience, can go hand in hand a little bit. And so as these guys were getting more experience to varsity level play, varsity level speed, strength, stuff like that, the depth was increasing as well. And then, had a injury right before the break to Isaac Hayes, sophomore, one of our, top players, our leading scorer, leading an assist, and had a couple of young men end up moving. And so all of a sudden now we're back just kind of refiguring out who this team is going to be this year.
And you got some time to do it. Like you said, you just barely started district play, so you still have a lot of district games ahead of you. When you talk about your district, obviously realignment changed things up. You guys take the champion from Region 2, throw them right in your district here. I don't know how many times you've played Lake Ridge in the past, but now they're sitting there right in your district, and they're just as hungry as your teams have been. I mean, they want to go back to state from last year. So maybe talk about some of the opponents you're going to see in 3-6A and how that might toughen you guys up as well.
Well, I mean, I think Region 1 has always traditionally been one of the toughest, if not the toughest region in 6A, first of all. And then when you start trickling down now this year to 3-6A, we may be the toughest district, in the region. So, you're looking at one of the more challenging districts in the state. You've got Lake Ridge, who, their record this year, their success last year, it speaks for itself. Really, really good squad. Coach Mitchell does a great job. Crowley High School has, a really good group this year. They played a very tough schedule, but have a strong group that's hungry as well. And so they're right there with Coach James. But then there's not much of a drop off. I mean, Weatherford is they've got 21 wins, so far this year. That's our next opponent tomorrow. Boswell does a great job. They played Crowley within one the other day. You've got Mansfield High School, who traditionally is really good, and Coach Speaks does an amazing job. And then Mansfield Legacy, who's right there in the mix. They've played a very competitive schedule all year long. Haven't quite been able to get over the hump at this point, but on any given night, they could definitely pop somebody.
Well, it's going to be a fun race to the finish, Coach. I appreciate you joining us, and once the playoffs start, we'll figure out where your game's going to be, since we split up with the divisions this year. But I'm looking forward to coming out there and seeing you guys again.
I certainly appreciate it.
Hey, that'll do it for today's show. Thanks for joining us. There's some great hoops all over the Metroplex this Friday. Go check out a game and see for yourself.